There are some cases that just stick with you. You know, they get under your skin. And the disappearance of Kyron Horman is absolutely one of them. For 15 years, this story of a 7-year-old boy vanishing from his school has haunted the Pacific Northwest. So today, we're going to dive into this long, cold case because new developments are bringing it right back into the spotlight. We're going to look at how 21st century tech might finally answer 15 years of heartbreaking questions.
Really, this whole thing boils down to one chillingly simple question. What on earth happened to Kyron? For so long, there were just no new answers. But that's changing. This 15-year-old mystery is getting a full-on 21st century update. Investigators are now using modern technology to go back and re-examine every single piece of evidence they've ever collected.
And let me be clear, this isn't just some look back at an old case file. The search is very, very active. There is still a $50,000 reward on the table for any information that finally leads to a resolution in Kyron's disappearance. So the stakes here, they're still incredibly high. Okay, so to really get a grip on where this case is headed, we have to go back, way back, to where it all began. Let's walk through the timeline of that Friday morning, June 4th, 2010. It all started as a totally normal school day. There was a science fair, the school was buzzing with parents and students. At 8:45 in the morning, Kyron's stepmother, Terry Horman, says she last saw him walking down the hall toward his classroom. But here's the terrifying part. The alarm wasn't raised for hours. It wasn't until 3:30 that afternoon, when the school bus dropped off the other kids and Kyron wasn't on it, that anyone realized something was wrong. 26 minutes later, the 911 call was finally made. By 8:30 that night, the FBI was on the scene. A typical day just spiraled into an absolute nightmare. So, who was this little boy at the center of it all? Kyron was 7 years old, he had brown hair, blue eyes, and a very distinctive V-shaped birthmark on his forehead. The last time anyone saw him, he was wearing a black CSI t-shirt, a detail that, looking back, is just heartbreakingly ironic. He also had on black cargo pants and Skechers with a bit of orange trim. He might have been wearing his glasses, too. These are the details that have been seared into the public's memory for a decade and a half.
The response to his disappearance was, well, it was massive and immediate. What started as a basic check of the school and the woods nearby just exploded. It quickly became the largest single search effort in the entire history of Oregon. We're talking local police, state troopers, federal agents, everybody. But despite this huge mobilization, they found absolutely nothing.
You know, a case like this, it doesn't just devastate a family. It ripples out, and it leaves this deep, lasting scar on an entire community. The official investigation is one thing, but the emotional fallout, that's a whole other story. In those first awful days and weeks after Kyron vanished, something really beautiful and just heartbreaking started to appear outside his school. People in the community felt so helpless, they just wanted to do something. So they created what became known as the Wall of Hope. It was just a simple chain-link fence, but it became completely covered in balloons, handwritten notes, and teddy bears. It was this public symbol of a community's grief and its absolute refusal to give up.
And that's why, years later, when a new property owner took down part of that wall, it hit so hard. Kyron's mother, Desiree Young, said it perfectly. She said, "They took away their hope, and I think it's wrong." It's just a gut punch of a reminder that for this family, this isn't some old story. It's a wound that has never been allowed to close.
So, when you have a case like this with no body, no real crime scene, and a lot of official silence from law enforcement, well, that vacuum gets filled. It's been filled with 15 years of questions, theories, and intense public debate.
And it all comes down to this one single question that cuts through all the noise. It's the question that has haunted his family, the investigators, and really a whole generation of people in Oregon. What happened to Kyron? How does a 7-year-old boy just disappear from inside his own school?
Over the years, the public conversation has kind of settled on a few main theories. One idea is that Kyron just wandered off into the thick woods around the school and got lost. Another is that he maybe got trapped somewhere inside the school building itself, in a crawl space, or somewhere that searches missed. Then there's the stranger abduction theory, that someone took advantage of the open door policy at the science fair. And finally, a lot of public suspicion has fallen on his stepmother, Terry Horman. Now, and this is super important, while people debate these theories online all the time, law enforcement has never, ever officially named a suspect in this case.
And that brings us right back to today. After 15 years of hitting brick walls, investigators are trying a whole new strategy.
They're hoping a digital review can spot a clue that maybe human eyes have missed all this time.
I want you to try and picture this. The Multnomah County Sheriff's Office is taking on this absolutely massive project. They are digitizing the entire case file. We are talking about thousands and thousands of pages of police reports, witness interviews, crime scene photos, evidence logs, everything, all of it, is being scanned and put into a modern, searchable database.
So what's the point of all this scanning? Well, once it's done, the entire digital file is being sent to the FBI's Elite Behavioral Analysis Unit, the BAU. Yep, the famous criminal profilers. Their job is to analyze everything, the statements, the evidence, the behavior, and compare to patterns from thousands of other cases nationwide to see if they can find a new angle. It's literally a fresh set of the world's best eyes on a very old, very cold case.
So here's the new game plan, right? It's a very methodical, step-by-step process. Step 1, digitize that mountain of paperwork. Step 2, hand it all over to the FBI's Behavioral Analysis Unit for a deep, deep dive. And finally, Step 3, take whatever new findings they have to the District Attorney's Office for a final evaluation. This whole thing is designed to breathe new life into the investigation.
And this isn't just some side project. The sheriff in charge, Nicole Morrissey O'Donnell, recently made it crystal clear this is a top priority. She said, quote, "We have never stopped searching for Kyron. We remain steadfast in our commitment to bring resolution to this case for Kyron, for his family, and for the community." That's a powerful statement of purpose right there.
And public help is still absolutely critical. Even after all this time, the sheriff's office gets hundreds of tips every single year, and they review every one. So if you or anyone you know might have a piece of information, no matter how tiny or insignificant it seems, that tip line is always open. It's a number worth sharing, because that $50,000 reward is still on the table, just waiting for that one call that could change everything.
So, that's where we're left. 15 years have gone by. 15 years of searching, of grieving, of wondering. A family has been trapped in this unbearable limbo for a decade and a half. So the big question is, with these new tools and this renewed determination, could a digital search for a ghost finally uncover the truth and bring Kyron Horman home?